I was raised by my great-grandparents. They would harvest wild foods, but they also grew food in a garden. I remember following behind my great-grandparents with my broken-handled hoe, ready to help. We planted corn, beans, potatoes, onions, squash, and pumpkin. In the fall, we would sit around and slice the squash into circles. We tried to make long ropes of spiral squash. Then we would take them, string them on poles, and hang them over the wood stove to dry. Once they were dry, we would break them up and store them in bags which were hung on the wall. They also tried to keep a good supply of gathered foods: wild strawberries, raspberries, gooseberries, plums, chokecherries, grapes, and currants, as well as wild onions and wild mushrooms. We would pick tea from the lead plant, and from the raspberry plants we would break up the bark from the plants and hang them on the outside of the house to dry. In the spring, we would walk along the shores to collect wild duck eggs. The end of June, we would walk in the prairie hills to look for wild turnips and teepsinna to dig up. We would sometimes eat it raw, but we mostly dried it and saved it for soups in the winter. As summer came to an end, we would then traipse into the wild, wet sloughs to spend the day harvesting medicine called Singpetwata, which translates into muskrat food. Most people would know it as sweet flag, which can be made into a tea, just chewed on for sore throats and coughs. But nowadays, we don't have to work so hard in gathering food, but we can try to incorporate our traditional foods into our diet and make choices that will keep our little ones nourished and healthy. Food is medicine.